And with protests continuing, our next guest says to heal the divide, President Trump needs to build something inspiring. Joining us here at Post 9, Pulitzer Prize-winning New York Times columnist Jim Stewart. We were talking just during the break. You've gotten a lot of feedback already on this column, which says let's do something big and bold and build, which is what, Forrest, he knows how to do.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what Trump has said he does best, and he has a track record there. And somewhat to my surprise, I've gotten this avalanche of responses. I think there is a tremendous hunger out there for something we could all rally around. And a great public works project program, I think is exactly it. It cuts across the divides. It provides jobs to a lot of the disaffected people that voted for him. It inspires Americans. It builds for the future. It boosts the stock market. What's not to like?
What could it be? I mean, I can think of a lot of things. High-speed rail, for example, would be interesting.
High-speed rail is a big one. I asked this guy, Dan McNichol. He's a journalist. He's an author. He's an expert on infrastructure. In fact, I've never met anyone who is so steeped in this. And he came up with 10 ideas. I said, look, kind of mingle them around the country, some red states, some blue states. And he came up with a fantastic list, starting with the Hudson Rail Tunnel, which is already planned, but
right.
A bridge to connect Detroit and Windsor, Ontario, a new dam system for South Carolina, sewage and water tunnels for Cleveland, Ohio, and the high-speed rail, which is both, it's underway in California. There's a plan for one in Texas, and then the one that really excites me was one of those magnetic high-speed trains that would connect the Northeast Corridor. You could be in Washington in under an hour.
Maglev
and by the way,
train.
China already has one of these. You can get from Shanghai to the airport in 7 minutes.
No, I mean, I think Trump has discussed this, but when you do go to China and you go to the rail stations or the airports, you are mesmerized, Jim, by the simple size of it and the architecture. It's incredible.
I think, that's one of the lines. When he said, that we're like a third world country, everybody was saying, well, yes. I mean, have you been to Newark? By the way, a naming opportunity. Newark doesn't have a name on the airport. So, and I didn't even mention airports, but you could do a lot with airports. Another thing that I liked, when I looked at the estimated price tags on these things, yeah, they're big. We're talking billions for most of them, but they're not that big. They're doable. Now, the one caveat I'll mention is, in the Depression era, we did all these great things. Unemployment was,
20%,
huge,
right? Yeah.
25%. Unemployment now is 4.9%. And some people have said, can we absorb this sort of spending without adding to inflation and wages? But I would say to that, first of all, a lot of people, and some of them who voted for Trump, I think, are going to face losing their jobs because of technology. I mean, if we have self-driving trucks, self-driving cars, there are a lot of people there who could shift into some of this activity. And secondly, what if it does raise wages a little bit in that sector? I mean, that's the core, so-called, working class that supported him that's going to benefit. So I don't think that's all bad.
In your column, you talk about President Obama's infrastructure platform and how we really don't know anything that's come out of it. But the most iconic infrastructure projects in our country, the Golden Gate Bridge, Hoover Dam, were part of the New Deal, which is basically the antithesis of how Republicans today think. And we have a Republican-controlled Congress. Do you think borrow and build is actually a policy that can get implemented?
I think it could. I mean, look, a big difference between Obama, and I think the Obama infrastructure thing was a big disappointment. I don't entirely blame him because the Republicans blocked him, but a big difference between Obama and FDR is Obama kind of delegated the states, said, what do you want? We'll write some checks. FDR was totally hands-on on this. Every single one of those projects went to his desk, and he signed off on them, and he did not want to fiddle around with things like asphalt paving and stuff like that. Nobody remembers. I mean, I looked up what happened under Obama, and there were a few rusty bridges knocked down and replaced with concrete slabs in obscure parts of the country. So who cares? What did that do? Not much. So I think there is a massive opportunity here if Trump wants to step up to it.
Jim, timeline realistic that this could start happening in the first year of his presidency?
Oh, it could definitely start in the first year. I mean, the 10 projects I mentioned in the column are almost all of them have a lot of work behind them and are pretty much ready to go. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to get built in a year. These things are very long-term projects. They'll go on long beyond when he's still in office, but you've got to start now to have it coming online in 10, 15, 20 years.
Jim, we look forward to hearing more from the comments that you're getting. That's very interesting.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.